Your boss's personality might be quietly destroying your career or supercharging it without you even noticing. And the wildest part? Most people are so busy trying to survive Monday mornings that they never stop to figure out which type they're actually dealing with. So they spend years burning out, getting passed over, blaming themselves when the real issue was sitting two desks down the entire time. I'm Dre, and after spending way too long studying how power actually works inside companies, I can tell you, bosses come in patterns, predictable patterns. Once you can read the pattern, the whole game changes. You stop reacting and start playing. Today I'm breaking down the 7 personality types of bosses, ranked from absolute career poison to the rare unicorn that actually makes you better at what you do. Stick around till the end, because I'll give you the survival playbook for each one. Let's get into it. Level 1. The narcissist. The worst of the worst. The black hole of corporate life. Everything begins and ends with them. Your wins are their wins. Your losses are also somehow your fault, even when they made the call. They're usually charismatic, sometimes weirdly likable in meetings, which is exactly what makes them dangerous. Underneath the charm is a grandiose sense of self-importance and a bottomless need for praise. Red flags? They redirect every conversation back to themselves. They take credit in front of leadership and blame you in private. They gaslight you into questioning whether the meeting you remember actually happened the way you remember it. Classic narcissist line, delivered with a straight face. Honestly, this whole project succeeded because of my leadership. Cool. You did the project at 2 a.m. alone. The impact on you is brutal. Your work disappears into their resume. You start feeling invisible. You start doubting your own perception of reality. And the worst part? They often get promoted next, because the people above them only see the charm. If your boss has a LinkedIn full of inspirational quotes they didn't write, congratulations, you might be working for one. Rate your boss 1 to 10 on the narcissism scale in the comments. Level 2. The incompetent. Also known as the Peter Principle boss. This is the manager who got promoted way past their actual ability and is now drowning in plain sight. They were probably great at their old job. That's why someone made the catastrophic decision to put them in charge of people. Traits to watch for? They make terrible decisions and then pretend it was the plan all along. They avoid responsibility by hiding behind committees and, let me circle back on that. They nod a lot in meetings and contribute nothing. They're often genuinely nice, which is what makes this so confusing. You don't want to hate them, you just can't trust them with anything that matters. The impact? You end up doing their job and your job. You become the unofficial decision maker while they get the title and the salary. You teach them how to do basic things while smiling through it. You watch them present your work and butcher half the explanation. The dark joke here is that the incompetent boss often survives longer than the talented ones because they're never threatening enough to remove. Rate them 1 to 10. Are we crying together yet? Level 3. The control freak, the micromanager. The one who reviews your spreadsheet column by column and asks why you used a comma there instead of a semicolon. Psychologically, this is almost always rooted in deep anxiety. They don't actually distrust you specifically, they distrust the world. They're just taking it out on you. Watch for these signs. They want approval over every tiny decision. They track your hours, your screen time, your bathroom breaks if they could. They reply to your 3-line email with 30 lines of edits. They schedule check-ins about the check-ins. The impact on employees is devastating in a quieter way than the narcissist. It kills creativity. It kills initiative. It kills your motivation to ever go above and beyond because you know they'll just rewrite your work anyway. You learn to do the bare minimum because anything more becomes ammunition for more meetings. If your boss has ever asked you to loop them in on something they were already CC'd on, you're in the trenches. Rate the chokehold 1 to 10. Level 4. The people pleaser. This one is sneaky because they look like a good boss on the surface. They're warm, they smile a lot, they remember your kid's name. The problem? They are physically incapable of making a hard call or saying no to anyone above them. Traits include vague feedback that means nothing, agreeing with everyone in the room even when those people are contradicting each other, dodging difficult conversations, and a complete inability to advocate for the team when it actually counts. Promotion budgets, raises, scope cuts, unrealistic deadlines. The people pleaser will smile and nod and then deliver the bad news to you with another smile. Psychologically, they're driven by conflict avoidance and a deep need to be liked by everyone. The cost of being liked by everyone is being respected by no one. Impact on you? You're constantly frustrated. Nothing gets resolved. Toxic coworkers stay toxic because nobody will confront them. You leave one-on-ones feeling slightly worse than when you walked in, but you can't quite explain why. Mid-tier boss. Not evil, just useless when it actually counts. Rate them 1 to 10. Level 5. The perfectionist. Now we're getting into bosses who are actually trying. The perfectionist has high standards, often unrealistically high, and they treat your work like a marble sculpture that needs one more chip off the corner before it's ready. Traits? Obsessed with details, never fully satisfied. Will redraft your deck 10 times and still want one more pass. Will rewrite your email and then ask why you didn't write it that way the first time. They're often fair, often respected, but they are exhausting to work for. The psychology here is usually fear. Fear of failure. Fear of being judged from above. They project that fear downward as standards. The work coming out of their team is genuinely high quality. The team itself is usually quietly burning out behind the scenes. Impact? You learn a lot. Your work gets sharper. You also start dreading Sunday nights and wondering if you're broken because nothing you do ever feels good enough. Some people thrive under this. Most people break under it for 2 years and then leave for somewhere with a pulse. Rate the burnout 1 to 10. Level 6. The visionary. Now we're climbing into the good zone. The visionary is the boss who paints the bigger picture. They walk into a meeting and suddenly the work feels meaningful again. They're inspiring, strategic, and they tend to attract talented people who actually want to follow them somewhere. Traits? Excellent at vision, motivation, and big picture strategy. Weak on execution details. Will give you a wild idea on Monday and forget the specifics by Wednesday. Trust you to figure out the how. Expects high performance and is genuinely impressed when you deliver. The catch is that working for a visionary can feel chaotic. Priorities shift. New initiatives appear out of nowhere. You sometimes wish they would just sit still and let one plan finish before launching the next one. But here's what's underrated about this type. You grow fast under a visionary. You get exposure. You get autonomy. You get to do work that actually matters. The chaos is the price of admission, and for the right person, it's a great trade. Rate the chaos 1 to 10. Level 7. The servant leader. The S-tier boss. The unicorn. So rare that most people in their entire careers will work for one, maybe two if they're lucky. The servant leader flips the entire pyramid upside down. Their job, in their own mind, is to make you better. Traits? They take blame and share credit. They develop people instead of using them. They lead with empathy and clarity at the same time, which sounds easy and is actually one of the hardest combinations to pull off in management. They're confident enough to be wrong in public and humble enough to learn from anyone in the room. Psychologically, this is high emotional intelligence married to genuine humility. They don't need the spotlight. They have nothing to prove. That security is what makes them safe to work for. Impact on you? You grow fast. You feel valued. You become weirdly loyal in a way that surprises you. You also become a better leader yourself because you finally got to see what good looks like up close. If you have one of these, protect them. Stay close. Learn everything you can while the window is open. Rate them 1 to 10, and honestly, if you're rating them, you probably already know. So the final tier list: F tier, the narcissist, because they actively damage you. D tier, the incompetent, because they waste years of your life. C tier, the control freak, because they cap your growth. B tier, the people pleaser, harmless but useless. A tier, the perfectionist, you'll learn but you'll bleed. Double A tier, the visionary, inspiring with a side of chaos. And S tier, the servant leader, the rare boss who actually makes you better than you were when you found them. Now here's the part most career advice skips. You usually can't fix a bad boss. You can only manage how you operate inside their system. With the narcissist, document everything and never feed the ego more than the bare minimum. With the incompetent, build your reputation outside their shadow so the company sees you directly. With the control freak, give them the illusion of control while protecting your own real work. With the people pleaser, get every decision in writing or it didn't happen. With the perfectionist, set internal limits before they set external ones for you. With the visionary, become the execution layer they don't have, and you become indispensable. And with the servant leader, just stop and pay attention. You're standing in a window that won't last forever. The hardest truth in all of this? Your career trajectory has less to do with how hard you work and more to do with who you work for. Pick the boss, not just the company. Pick the boss, not just the title. Pick the boss, not just the salary. The right boss compounds your skill every year you stay. The wrong boss quietly subtracts. Drop your boss type in the comments. Be honest. Bonus points if you can name the level without scrolling back. Like the video if any of these hit a little too close to home. Share it with the coworker you both already know it's about, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Talk soon.